Emisión.net.
Hello again and welcome to Letter from England, broadcasting for the Spanish Evangelical Alliance and AC Press. The Church left out in the cold and then let back in again, though with a rather lukewarm response. This is Vida Nueva Evangelical Church in Oleiros in northwest Spain. Its motto, Church Without Walls, with which it presents itself on its website, has become all too real for the congregation of 150 in recent weeks, after their building was closed by the local council. Quite literally, the church found itself without walls, roof or any other structure since the building was closed, which previously they'd occupied for 3.5 years. They were banned from using it for any worship activities. As reported in this news agency last week, the closure was due to alleged complaints at the noise made during services, and also an alleged refusal to comply with sound regulations over the use of amplified musical instruments. The church's pastor, Roberto Reed, says, "We don't know if it is for religious or political reasons, but we feel persecuted." The church has continued to hold 2 Sunday services but in the open air, while Sunday school classes were conducted on nearby park benches. The dispute has been simmering for some time, as the council has repeatedly insisted on more and more regulations being met. The church says they have received and complied with no fewer than 42 such demands. Now they say the church does not have the required license, but lawyers for the church say such a license is not required for that kind of a building, which is situated in an industrial estate. Well, the major sin of these Protestants seems to be that they make too much noise. A few months ago, fearing trouble, they reduced their musical output to 2 acoustic guitars without amplification, even though the church building is mainly surrounded by industrial units and offices, which of course are closed on Sundays. They also rectified the excessive noise made at their Friday night youth events. Reed again says, "It's true that bands at these meetings were sometimes too noisy, but this hasn't happened for more than a year now." The church even employed a firm, upon the council's recommendation, to measure the noise made, and took other steps to comply with the council's demands, but to no avail. There is also some discrepancy over the complaints received, or the reports of complaints received. While the council claim that neighbours have done so, the church says that only one, the owner of a nearby sound studio, has actually complained about the activities of the evangelical church. Reed says, "We don't want to be in conflict with anyone, and we're prepared to do whatever is needed to solve this problem." Yet one single complaint from someone who is only in the area of the church during working hours was enough for the council to close the church building. The secretary of the Regional Evangelical Council in Galicia, which is where Oleiros is located, David Rego, who joined Oleiros church leaders in a meeting with the council, says, "There's a lot of hesitation in accepting evangelicals. They close our churches and point accusingly at us all the time. Just over a year ago in Lugo, in the same region as Oleiros, the authorities closed a gypsy church on the spurious ground that a church had to be housed in a detached building." Rego again says, "It's ridiculous in this day and age that they curtail religious freedom in this way, but we're used to it." Reed says that the situation faced by their church community is the same as if a Catholic priest had the church where he dispensed Mass closed. But the difference is that Catholics could simply go to another church. But he says we can't do that because there isn't another one. So they can either meet in homes or outside the church building. But as he points out, the problem is that we cannot hold evening prayer meetings outside, especially because of the children. Well, the latest news is that a meeting between representatives of Oleiros Council and Vida Nueva Evangelical Church in the town has reached agreement over the crisis of the church building closed by the authorities after alleged complaints over the noise made at church services. The council has agreed to lift the closure order on the building on condition that the church apply for a new license to use it as a place of worship. It is understood that as part of the agreement, when the license is applied for, that it will be granted. The meeting was attended by Vida Nueva Church's 2 pastors, Roberto Reed and David Zapata, their legal advisor, the secretary of the Galicia Evangelical Council, the mayor of Oleiros, Angel Garcia, a councillor and a council lawyer. Agreement was reached after the council accepted that the music played in the church was not a performance or a concert, but part of its liturgy. Reed asked the mayor if therefore the closure order could be lifted and the church could finally be granted a proper license to worship. The mayor agreed to his request on condition that the church did not exceed the 82 decibels allowed by the law. On this last point, the church pointed out that they had contracted the services of a firm to measure their sound output, and that firm found that the church had never exceeded the legally permitted number of decibels. The church say they have always tried to keep within the law and at the same time enjoy the religious liberty guaranteed them by the Spanish Constitution. Even though church representatives say they are pleased at the response of the mayor and that a solution to the crisis has been found. But one is bound to ask why this situation was even created in the first place and what really the causes were. Thank you for listening to Letter from England, which broadcasts at emission.net each week. Goodbye for now.
Emisión.net